lesson is about the fundamentals of living things. Things like us, like trees, like these sheep. It turns out that a really important characteristic of living things is the ability to reproduce. Reproducing means making new things that are similar. In nature, we observe that all species reproduce the same species. It turns out that these sheep contain information about how to make a new sheep, and that's what we're going to learn about in this lesson. Genetics is the science of how characteristics are passed from one generation to another. Genetics also explains how sheep can be both similar in big ways and different in small ways.
Some characteristics are passed on from one generation to the next, such as having 5 fingers or the color of your eyes. These kinds of characteristics are called traits, and they're inherited from your parents. Some traits are characteristics of a particular species, like the long beak on this blue heron, or the ears on this rabbit, or the shape of these leaves. Other traits describe differences within a species. Among humans, hair color, height, eye color, and skin color are inherited traits that result in diversity within humans. Genetics is about the traits that are inherited or passed on from one generation to the next. Before we dig into genetics, I want to point out that not all characteristics are inherited. Some characteristics are developed during life and are not passed on to the next generation. Changes in a body that result from injuries are an example of characteristics that are not inherited. Tom had an eye injury when he was young. Tom's daughter Rachel sees fine out of both eyes because injuries are not inherited. Genetics and traits describe only inherited characteristics, like what species you are, your eye color, and your hair color. Here's a question for you to try. Which of the following characteristics are inherited traits? There are 2 correct answers. A. Speaking the English language. B. Having brown hair. C. Having 5 toes. Or D. A scar from an operation.
That's right. Hair color is an inherited trait.
Which of the following characteristics are inherited traits? There are 2 correct answers. A. Speaking the English language. B. Having brown hair. C. Having 5 toes. Or D. A scar from an operation.
That's right. Body characteristics you are born with are inherited traits.